Right. So I'm gonna go ahead do a sound check and then we'll get the show on the road. I believe we're just a little delayed, so while that's being done, I'll go ahead and get my setup going. Up here we go, I'm live. So let me verify. Turn my mic up. All right. So sound is good, and I actually think I fixed the way my camera was responding through video chat with my friends. So it is now 8 o'clock. Let's get going. I'm just gonna take a brief look at the code because I actually haven't looked at this since Friday last week. So I believe that everything so far is actually good. So that's great. I can change what I need to change. But there might be something I want to change later. But for instance, this find by ID and update. If I wanted to change the image, I would have a problem because in here I'm doing request dot body, and I'm not doing a request dot. I don't have a way to access the request dot file if I were to do this. So this would be something I'll have to update a little. Well, what I could do is I could always do this, right? I can always say if request dot what do I want to say, file, right? So now I'm checking to see if we have a file being uploaded on this thing, just like how we did over here. Um, but also the problem is going to be if I don't have this thing in here. Well, if I don't have a file, then it won't upload because I'm not seeing here, right? This is the part we'll need, and I want to see if I can throw this middleware in and still run it even if there isn't an image being uploaded, because I am error checking. Well, using this check here will make sure that it'll only add the file on there if it exists. So let's go ahead and try this. So we'll do post dot cover image equals request dot file dot buffer. So now we have access to that buffer because we modified the way that we had our memory storage on here through Molter. So that's cool. Um, the other thing that we might want to do is I'm trying to think for a second. Actually, I think we're good here. So we did a check. Oh, we have to throw the middleware in here. So we'll do upload, and I believe it's dot single because we're only adding one image. And then we'll just go ahead and do cover image because that is the name of the property that we're trying to talk to connect it to. But I'm actually going to change the name of this to cover dash image just because, oh, it doesn't like, oh, comma, because I think this is a little bit. I wonder if I'm gonna have a problem with it over here with this. But yeah, I'll have a problem. It seems like. So I don't think I'll actually be able to use this type of syntax. Actually, if I do use this syntax, I have to do it like this. Huh. All right. So I'm not gonna do that. So I'll leave it the way it is in camel case and comma, and then we'll be good to go. So I've got that going, and I think that's all I needed to modify it. And I'll hold off on modifying the projects router just because I'm still not sure how I want to configure that. So I don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to take time to manipulate that when I'm still not too sure how it's going to look on the front end in terms of how I'm going to put it all together. So since I'm still a little curious about how that's going to look, I'm going to leave it the way it is for the projects router. But I do know for the post router, we'll only have that one image, at least for now. And then the actual content will look a little different. So I think we're good there. So let's just, the only thing we have to do now is actually test this thing. And where are we? Here. And we got that. So let's see if this works. And I don't think I have to await this because it's not asynchronous. Yep, there we go. And so I'm going to save. I'm going to start the server, npm run dev, and then we're going to open up Postman. I'm not even going to open a Robo 3T just yet, just because I think we're fine in terms of, you know, I don't need to look at the database. As long as what comes back from Postman is good to go, I think we're good. So just give this a second to pop up there. And now, well, we're still waiting for Postman. So we still have all of the stuff we had from our previous sessions with Postman. And actually, once we finish this, we're not really going to use Postman anymore to test our code because it's all going to be automated. And you'll see how we get to do that at the end. So the only thing I want to do here is, I think we still have users, but the only way I'll be able to know is if I can log in with this one. So let's go ahead and log in with this user. And oh, here we go. So there was some kind of error going on here, and the reason I think that is because of, oh, we're not connected to the database. So now we have to go in and connect to the database. So that's what I forgot to do. I knew I needed Robo 3T for something. And as you can see, I'm getting a little bit better at working with these errors after you start to, you know, you get familiar with the way the command line talks to you. And you start to kind of build up a methodology to say, oh, okay, you can't connect to the server for some reason. And then you just start to dig and see what's going on. And this is actually the same error that we had before. So only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and actually I'm going to Control C this, clear it, and I'm not going to run the CLS. I'm not going to run anything just yet. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to Robo 3T one more time, because it could be the fact that we're trying to connect to the database while we're trying to send stuff to the database that while it isn't up. So that could be causing some problems with the code. Okay, it's not letting us do it. So now we know we have to go into, if you're on Windows, this is the way we'll do it here. There's probably another way to do it with the command line. But I don't really like to use the command line with the Windows because it's messy. And I'm just not experienced using it. And I mean, it's Windows. I really dislike it, if I'm being honest. So I will be investing into a Mac soon, just not at this very second. And there should be a way for, no, that's not what I wanted to do. There should be a way for me to repair this. At least there was the last time. So I think actually I clicked on this one to repair MongoDB. And when I repaired MongoDB, I believe that's what fixed things for me. And now that I think about it, I don't even think I need the actual MongoDB, but I'm going to keep it for now just because I don't want to screw anything up. And later on, we'll be using one other client to work with our database once we actually push our code. Because what will happen is right now we have a local database that we're looking at. But once we put our code on the internet, we need another way of accessing it. And you see here that everything's working now. So now we can go back and run our server. So, and then from there, we can go back to Postman and just send the request again to log in. And there we go. So now the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to run the same first I want to see all posts to make sure there is a post there. All right, there we go. And now I want to go to update a post, and I'm just going to send off whatever's in here on the body and just see if that changes. And I want to see if there's going to be any error codes or printouts, because we changed the way it's working a little bit by adding this this middleware in here, and we're not actually doing that. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't throw an error. I don't think it will, but I'm not, like, again, this is still my first time working with this stuff. So I want to make sure. And I think the issue here is the ID. So let's go back to get all posts. And I'm just going to grab this ID right here. And I'm going to copy that. And then we're going to go back to update a post. And now let me change this ID here. And we should be good to go. Yep, there we go. So we're able to do this without changing the image. And then if we did want, I'm sorry, we are able to use the patch, even though we don't change the image, we're still good to go because it's only changing the fields that we set. Now if we go and say, where is this? Header, not the header, body, and we need to use form data. And we're just going to change this a bit. We're going to add in the other fields. So I'm trying to figure out how to get this body stuff that we had without, writing it all out again. And in comes my dog. Very rude of him. Let's see. I'm sorry. Form data. And I'm going to go to this bulk edit just because it seems a little easier if I just drop that in there. And I don't have to use commas because each new line is actually keeping the section separated. I don't think I need these quotes either, if I remember correctly. Because when you look at the form, you don't actually have to do this. It's automatically converted. So we just send the actual data. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do cover image. And I'm actually just going to go back and click back to this because I want to be able to do this and select the file. And you guys remember this was the first image, so this is going to be the next image we're going to use in place of that. So we're going to open that and upload that, and hopefully that is a different image because they all have the same similar name because they have this Pexels photo. So I don't remember the numbers, so that is fine. So let's go ahead and send this off, and the buffer does look different. These first few digits, I remember they were lower numbers. So now I know the image changed. And if I wasn't sure, what I can do is I can go into the database. I'm going to go and look at the posts. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the information for the cover image. Here it is. I think if I click enough times, I'll get it. Let's do edit document. And I want to click here. And I believe you can hold shift. And so I'm going to hold shift here and then click. Yep, there we go. And then I'm going to hit Control C. So now I have that copied. And then I'm going to go into my browser. I forgot, I was watching Hunter x Hunter. So I'm going to bring that over. I didn't finish, as you can see. So let's go. Don't ask me why I was Googling. I was having a conversation with friends. Where are we? Yeah, so I need the HTML. Actually, it's I might actually have the old browser still up. Or is it it might be in the older browser I was using. So I have a really bad habit of not closing tabs. Yep, here we go. So this will save me a lot of trouble. And this is a lot to delete, so I'm just gonna hit that and just keep going until I clean this up. Hopefully it's not too, actually this is pretty long, as you can see. Actually, you guys know how long this is, so it might just be easier if I can just get all of that. And it's still going. Okay, so that didn't help at all. Got a lot to backspace. So this might take a second. I really don't know a faster way to do this. Actually, I do. I'm just gonna go back over here, data colon image slash JPEG semicolon base 64. So yeah, if you remember that, let me don't let me get stuck. Actually, I'm just gonna type that into the chat because actually I'm gonna type that up here. So date image slash JPEG and base 64. And then now I can just go in and just take all of this. Dang, so long. Freezing. So I'm actually able to target more chunks now, seems like. I'm just afraid I'm going to get the whole source image and then screw everything up, so. Jeez. If I can catch all the special characters, I can do it a little faster. All right, there we go. So src, and then I think I need to say, oh no, image tags first. Image are self-closing tags, so I can just do that. And I can do src equals, and then it's data image slash jpeg dot colon semicolon base 64 and I think comma. Then I can drop all that in there. Oh no, it's the same image. Huh. Interesting. Oh, I know. I never refreshed. So let me refresh this. And now I should have different information. And before I even do that, I'm just gonna go back to the browser and get all of that and just take all of that out. Save me the time. And before I copy anything, I can just go ahead and grab that and then do image tag, and then we'll say source, and now we have our source. We can close the tag and drop what we did know in there, put our comma, and now we can go and grab our binary data. So same thing, it still looks the same, but I think that's just the way it is. You know, who knows, between all of that stuff, anything can be different, and I'm not going to verify it. I'm just going to click it in here, and if it doesn't show the same thing, then I know it worked. Seems like there's an issue with my tag, and I think there's that space there, and then we have to run with JavaScript. So maybe the file extension isn't JPEG anymore. So I don't know what the file extension really is. Actually, I should see it in Postman. Yep, it's JPEG. Let's see what I missed. Image should be a self-closing thing. I wish they had a fast way for me to get to the end of this. Don't want to see that. We want to see the output. Run. I think. Output. There we go. And for some reason, it's not giving us the image we want to see. And I want to say it's because I have my image tag in wrong. Could be wrong. This is so tedious. I wish there was. Let's see if they have a faster way. Convert base 64 to image. I just want something really, really fast. Okay, there we go. So let's see if we copy that. I don't think I missed anything. And then go over here and then just drop that in there. And then generate the image. So it's still the same image for some reason. So at least we got that one out the way. I'm actually just gonna click this and try it one more time and fire off the request, because we're getting our 200 error to say, I mean not error, message to say that that is okay. The only thing I can think to do is I'm gonna just run this one more time. Console.log, and I just want to say we're in here. Let's put true. Just to see if that got logged. And we did log it. So and I did change it there. So let's see if it updated. So I'm just gonna hit that X there, refresh this, go look at our cover image and edit, and then it still looks the same, but again, I have no idea what this is really supposed to look like outside of, you know, the picture itself. So I'm still gonna just use the same thing and drop it in there, and then just see what happens over here. And it does appear to be the same image. So that apparently doesn't work. So let's go into Molter, and it might be that you have to update. Let's say we do Molter update image, so that there may be something that you have to do with deleting the previous image before you do this. What I want to do is see if that image is still the same. Yeah, so here it is here. Molter example the file, the name of the image is stored. So what I have to do is make sure that I didn't screw up over here. So that's capital I. When I have my Molter in here, I do have upload single, cover image, so that should be fine. We have our post here is supposed to be this stuff here, so it found our post. Actually, what I think happened, oh, I see what happened. So what happened is we updated our image already here. So what I have to do is, I think I might have to do another await, or yeah, this seems the only way this will work, because we're taking our find by ID and update, and this is again something that we might have to do. So what we can do is we can break this down into two things. We can find it by ID, right? Return that, and then manipulate all of the different pieces on that. Or another thing we can just do is we can just say await post dot save, and then do it that way. So now we find it, we update it with the stuff in the body, we change the image, and then we save it. Otherwise, I really can't think of another way to do this unless we take the two object, like the two different objects, and combine them into one new object. For instance, like how we did with our, I believe it's auth. So no, that's not auth. It's our on our user model. We take our where is it? To JSON, right? We create this thing here, and we take the user and convert it to an object, and then we delete stuff. So we might be able to go and say we take the request body and the request file, and we convert those to a new object. So we can always say const updates equals, and now that I'm thinking about it, there's actually a few things where oh, I'm in the wrong place. Good thing I didn't do this. There's a few things that's actually supposed to happen here. The first thing I need to say is I need to make sure that these are valid updates. But actually everything is valid, and what's the word, with Express, I believe, no, Mongoose, I'm sorry, ignores anything that's invalid. Um, Invalid properties. Let's see. I spelled that wrong, but we'll see. Ignore non. Yeah. Let's see. What's this here? Yep, there we go here. So strict query for, so there's a flag for this. And this is probably what it means in when you make your query for backwards compatibility, strict options does not apply to the field. But I think with this is more so saying that you have to match exactly what's in there. Otherwise, this keeps kind of some kind of injection, I would assume. Some people can try to inject data into your database, but I'm almost certain that it ignores non-existing stuff on there. Let's see, non-existing like this. Let's do strict query. Here we go. Doesn't really give us a lot to go off here. Strict true. So this doesn't really give us a lot. Mongoose would not filter out not in schema, despite strict is true. So I think what it does, it just filters out the stuff. Yeah, here, strict option does apply to updates. So Mongoose will strip out not in schema from the update if strict is not false. So what we can do is, let's go back and put something on here that doesn't exist. And we'll see that in action. And I'm just going to say does not exist, right? We're going to put that on there, and then we're going to give it a value, and we're going to say 12. And then we're going to fire that again. And you see here, it's not on our object. At least I hope not, because then that looks crazy. But I believe it shouldn't be on here. Jeez, look at this thing. I thought it was at the bottom already. Alright. There we go. See, it's not on this thing. And if we are actually refresh, it won't be on there. So I have half the mind not to actually do anything for that, because it doesn't do anything, at least from what we can see. So I think I'm fine there. So it automatically ignores stuff. So I guess we can ignore that for now. So back to where we were, but as you can see, if we do our post.save again, I'm sorry, I kind of got sidetracked, but the only thing I changed here was why I added the wait post.save, so that way we can get this thing here. The only other way we can make our update again is to combine them into the same object, and I'm starting to think that might be more trouble than it's worth. And now we're back up here, so let's send this off again, and everything appears to be the same, but I believe it should be different this time. You see there's like 10,000 plus lines of binary stuff, so anywhere in there it can look completely different. We won't know that until we do this. And yep, look at that, the end is different, so that's how I know it's different. So now we go back to this thing, and then if I drop the image in there, it should be a different image. Yep, see, we just changed it. That's all we had to do. I can't think of any other way to do that except to add a property, actually. So what if we did we go up to the top here, right? And we go, before we even get up here, we'll say, before we get into the try block, because we don't need to try with that. So we'll just say if request dot file, right? We'll just create a new object. So, and we can also take out our, so we can do const, right? And this will be our updates. So we can say const updates equals, and this will be request dot body, and it's already an object, so we don't have to worry about that. And I'm wondering if there's just an add option where we can just say add, well, I guess we have to say, just add by itself just seems a little weird, but I know we did it over here, right? So what if we did add updates dot cover image? That doesn't sound right. We'll do updates dot cover image equals request dot file dot buffer. So this is actually a guess, so I could be wrong here, but only one way to find out. And then I will comment this out, and then all our changes will go here. So then we'll change it from being request.body to being updates. And we added the property on this thing. So this is supposed to be an object. So I don't want me to find out, right? And then we're just going to fire that off one more time and see if we have any issues. And actually, the way we're going to do this is we're going to go here. We're going to use a different image. And actually, I'm going to do something different. I think I have some orange stuff in here that looks really cool. Yeah, this one. And now we have a completely different image. And again, it's already ignoring this, so I don't think I have to worry about that. I believe when I added the acceptable updates on the user, I believe I'm on the model and not the router. We restricted the updates on the user. Thought we did. Oh, here it is here, the patch. I'm sorry, I was looking at the post. So you see here, we have the updates, and we're choosing the properties that they can update. So that's all we had to do there. With post, there's no reason to restrict it because, I mean, even if somebody adds something weird, it'll just, it won't even go in. And now we don't need this. So that works. And then the only thing we're going to do, well, we don't even have to test to see if we don't add it because it won't even go into that block. Because the updates will just not even add that property. And we can always test that out. We can just, turn it off. And then there it is. We still get our object back. So I think we're good there. I know previously I said I didn't need to create a model for the subscribers, but I do, because I'm only holding small pieces of data for our subscribers. And I'm also of the mindset that when I get a subscription link, when I send something to the user, I can have a button in there that if they click that button, it'll remove their email from the database. And that's all. So it won't even, as long as it'll just be anybody who has access to that link. Since I'm only sending it directly to that email, it should be safe. I could be wrong, but that's just my mindset as of right now. And this is a learning project, so I can figure out other ways to try to break things once I have something running, and I can always update it and fix it. So then we're gonna we have our model for our subscriber, and I'm just gonna take what's the word I'm looking for? I'm gonna say, first thing first, we need mongoose. Slow this thing down. And sorry for a little bit of back and forth. I know initially I wasn't planning to have this thing, but as things change, you have to make sure you're accounting for. Oh, that sounds a whole lot better. You have to account for different things, and I'd rather have my my code more verbose, so that way I can have more flexibility. So I know exactly what's doing what, and I'm not trying to hijack my user and have that be a subscriber, because I don't want subscribers logging in to do anything. So I just thought that would have been a bad idea by design. So I just thought it'd be smarter to just do it this way. I don't think I'll need any of this stuff. I will need the validator. And actually I thought I'd remove this because it's already there, and once you have mongoose, let me just check the other ones to see if I did the same thing. Okay, so back to here, and then we'll need validator dator equals require, and then we'll do, there we go. So then now we do const subscriber. I think I need it all. Subscriber schema. Subscriber schema. Just in case we want to do anything to it, later. Equals new mongoose dot schema, and there we go. And only thing we need is a name and an email, so fairly easy, and I can actually just copy that and then drop it in here. And then look at that, everything's good, everything's happy. And I'm gonna send this off to, actually I'm sorry, getting a little ahead of myself. Yeah, there's no reason here to strip anything because we need the email and the name. We don't need any tokens, we don't need to do any of this stuff. I don't even think we're gonna need this lookup because I don't think we're doing any lookups. You know, any lookups will be for me. And you'll see that in a second because I need the subscribers for the mailing service. So I'm just gonna save this as it is. Oh no, I forgot to do the const subscriber. So this is actually our subscriber model. Subscriber equals. Do I have to do new mongoose.model? Yep. Okay, mongoose.model. And then it's just mongoose.model, and then we add, and then it's going to be subscriber, and then over here we can just use our subscriber schema variable constant that we created, and that's all we need there. And I'm just going to jump down to index.js and then add our subscriber here, app.use subscriber. Oh, I didn't import it. So let's import that. Subscriber router. And sorry, I just got a little curious here of when this was done. When was this done? I think this is old because I think when I first started doing this, I had everything saved on the disk and I didn't push anything to GitHub, so that's why some things are over here still showing green. And yeah, because I remember I created this router thinking I needed that, so let me go ahead and get rid of that. And no, it wasn't in my nose. Subscriber router, but this mustache does tickle. That's all I need there. So I'm gonna save that as well. Yeah, right now it doesn't know because I didn't create the router, so that's why it crashed. I do need to export our subscriber. Module.exports equals subscriber, and that's all we need here. So we can save that, and then we're going to go down into our routers and we'll create our subscriber router. So we'll have subscriber dash router.js, and I think what happened is when I do into index.js, I never finished it, equals require, and then we'll do dot slash routers slash subscriber router. Out of water. All right. So I'm sorry, I can hear the echo on my headphones. So for me, it just helps me hear the quality of my voice a little bit better, and it's probably a little louder for you guys as well. So in this subscriber.router, the first thing I'm just going to do is export it, so that way the code is happy. Subscribe, if I can spell, subscriber router. And it doesn't exist right now. Actually, it doesn't exist. This is never going to exist. It's going to be router. And let me take the S off, and that's that. Doesn't know where router is just yet. Subscriber router. Okay, everything else is fine though. So we'll just keep building on top of this, and here we go. Back to the top. We're gonna say const. I believe we need actually we need express this time. Equals require, and then we drop express in there, and then we say const, now we need our subscriber equals require, and then we get that, I believe it's dot slash, oops, did I go too far? No, I didn't. Models slash subscribers, and it should just be 1s. I don't want I don't want it to be plural. So now we need to get our router going on in here. So we can say const router equals express dot router. Oh, and I believe it's like that. I always forget that. So now that we have our router, we have a variable that can be exported, and the code should be happy now. So we're going to go through doing our router just like usual. So we're going to have our get to go ahead and get our actual subscribers. So I'm just going to go here, and we'll start with our async await stuff. And actually, in order to get our subscribers, I do want it to be authenticated. And before I do get, we need to do post, because we have to create it first. To create it, you don't need to be authenticated, because the person that's actually creating the subscriber is going to be the user. So for instance, somebody's going to go into my site, they'll see a button, they'll click it, they'll type the information in, and then they'll send it. And that's how I'll get the subscriber. So all of that is perfectly fine. The only thing I forgot to do is over here is I forgot to trim any data, because what I want to happen is I want to make sure that whatever happens, I don't want the user to what's the word? I don't want any user to send data, have some white space in there, and that screw stuff up. So I need to trim that. So make sure, we remove all of the white space, and I probably should do that on my user router as well if I haven't already done that. And not the router, the model. And we definitely haven't. So we'll say true. Oh, forgot to say trim. Trim true. And then over here, we're going to say trim true, because we don't want any white space. And save. And then we have our router now. So let's go async. Async. And then we put in our request and the response. And then we're using our ES6 syntax to create our callback. And now we say const, I believe it's user equals new user, I believe, and then in here we take the request dot body, and actually this isn't user, this is subscriber. New subscriber, subscriber, and let me get this auth in here as well before I forget. Const auth equals require, and then we'll drop our authentication in there. Dot slash middleware slash auth. There we go. There we go. So now we have that going, and then now we wanted to make sure that I believe this email unique thing should prevent duplicates, so I'm not going to do any checking for that just yet. And do try, and actually I'm going to put all that in the try block just because it looks a little cleaner. And I'm just going to do all our catch stuff because we know what we're doing with the catch. We're just going to send a 400 error. So we do response dot status. It's going to be a 400, and then we'll send that back. Say, hey, something went wrong. Check that. So now we're going to say here, and the only thing we have to do is save it, but we have to do something first. We have to say, where's the stuff where you're looking for when you need it? User router, and we can just look here, and we just try to save it. That's all. I didn't double check to see on the user router if we can create a duplicate. So let me just test that while we're over here. So we already have this user created. So if I send that thing again, it sends a 409. I want a little bit more handling on that, but it's fine for now, because I guess the problem there, well, no, other places tell you that the user already exists. They don't really give you anything about the password or stuff like that, so I don't think it's like a leak. Let's see, wrong router. So now we do our await, and then it'll just be subscriber, capitalized, I believe. Nope, subscriber dot save, and we do that, and that should be response dot status 201, because we're creating one, and then we'll send that. And when looking at the user router, that's all that has to be done. And I'm gonna indent this stuff because I don't like the way that looks. So we can always go and check that, and we will, but not just yet. Router dot, let's go ahead and get this stuff over with. So we have our subscriber. If we want to, so it seems like the leading subscribers should also be fine, but you'll need the ID. So I don't think any of this stuff is actually gonna need authentication except for the get, because you don't want anybody getting your subscriber, because once you do that, there's a problem. One thing that I will do is, you'll see in a second when I integrate the email client, is that we're going to send notifications when these things happen. So for instance, before we send our status out here, we want to send an email off to say, hey, our user was saved. So I'm not sure if I want to do that before or after the response is sent back. I guess we probably want it after, so that way we know it was actually done successfully. But I'll look at the documentation to see how exactly they say to handle that. So for our get, we do, and actually I'm just going to do subscribers. Actually sounds fine because it's plural right now. And this one gets us all of the subscribers here. So we have subscribers, and I'm sorry, I left my leaving condition in. I was actually supposed to rinse it out, so it's not leaving conditioner. There we go. Answer to your question about me speaking. It's hard to talk and type at the same time though. So now we just want to get all our subscribers, but we are going to be authenticating again, because you're just giving out a list of all of the people who are on your email list, and you want people to work for that stuff. You don't want them to, get it easily. So here we're going to just drop this in here. And actually, I don't think I need to get an individual subscriber. Probably think of a way to do that. So I'm just going to put the functionality there, and if I don't need it, I can always delete it later. So we're going to say const subscribers equals subscriber dot find, and then we're not going to put any parameters on that. We can always add the search, what's the word I'm looking for, the sorting and stuff like that, but in this particular case I don't think I want to do that. The other thing I guess that I might want to do is do the Actually, I don't want to limit this stuff. I just want to get all. If I want to get, like, for instance, in this particular case, I'm thinking about if I really wanted to get, if I was getting my subscribers, I just want to get a list of them, and I don't actually want to view them at this very second. Well, I'm sorry. Um, Anything that I'm doing with the subscribers, I would want to be raw because I may want to download them and maybe every so often just have a physical copy of my subscriber list, maybe on my computer, or maybe if I'm doing some kind of raffle or something like that, I might use that some way, and just have their name, other sensitive information there, but you still want to keep that stuff protected. So we'll we have our, and actually we have to wait for this to happen. And so we're gonna find all of that subscribers, and then we'll say, hey, if there's no subscribers, we are going to send back a 404, I believe. Where's the get? Yep, we send the 404 back. So its status 404, and we're gonna send that off. There we go. And I don't have my ballistic, so I'm gonna keep biting my lip. Oh, yes I do. Oh, and Adobe XD decided to show up, so I think I can show you guys what I was talking about in terms of the subscriber and how they'll be sending that stuff off. Granted, I'm sure you guys probably already know how that stuff is working, but I just wanted to show you here. Let's see here. So there'll be a button for them to click here. I will have to update this so that way when they do this, they hit subscribe. I mean, I can do this two ways. I can have a form, and then they'll click here, they'll hit subscribe, and the only thing they have to do is add their name. Or I could always just modify this. For instance, put their name up top or something, and if I duplicate that, it'll just be like, hey, give me your name. No, you get the point. For some reason, I can't get this thing to modify it. So your whatever, but it'll just be something like that without the button, and the button would just be at the bottom. So I'll leave it the way it is, and that's all we're trying to create. They don't need any other interaction with it. The users don't need to go and check to see if their name is in the list because now you're exposing all your emails. So we'll send the error if there is no subscriber. Otherwise, we're going to send that list back. So we'll say response dot send subscribers, and I don't need to do the 200 because that's already implied that that's what's happening, as you'll see over here. And then if they can't get it, then that means there's some processing error with the database. So we're gonna let that be known, and it'll be a 500, and then it'll be a dot send. So we'll send that message back to say that it didn't work. And then now for updating, I don't think I need an update route because the user won't be able to what's the word I'm looking for? They won't be able to update their email if it didn't work because they won't actually see the list. So I don't think I actually need that. I need to do a get because that's for a different process. So that is fine. Now what I'll have to do is go over here to say router dot delete, and this will just be our way of removing our users from our subscribers, our subscriber list. Yeah, I don't think I need to even get individual subscribers because I don't have any data. So I'm not even gonna create that router. Um, I'm gonna go here though and do the same thing for deleting though. So I'm gonna say subscribers. Hopefully I didn't spell that wrong. And we're gonna also authenticate because I don't want any random person deleting. Actually, I'm not gonna authenticate that. And for this particular thing, I do want to use an ID because I only want because if I'm sending an email to a person to delete their email from the list, I want them to be able to remove it without having to log in. And the way that'll work is I'll send a link to their inbox. Just like there's some things that you sign up for that you never create a password for. The first thing I can think off the top of my head is I like stocks, so I subscribe to their stuff sometimes. So Motley Fool actually has like a thing. I hope that oh yeah, food.com. There we go. So they did redirect me. For instance, if you click here, I think this is the wrong one. They have a free thing. Let me just look for something that says free. Um, Control F, free. Um, they usually have something on here for maybe like a stock or something like that. Yeah, see here. So if you type this in, I'm just gonna use. Yep, I like to use Bob Saget's name. I did watch Full House growing up. Um, so sue me. So if this is your email, sorry, dude. And then it sends a message to your email, and then you can just say, "Hey, I agree." Um, and then you'll get a message to your email, and that's it. You're back to wherever you were. Um, and that's the same kind of functionality we need to create. So there's no point for an update because if somebody gives me a wrong email, I won't know that. So you don't need to be authenticated for that, and then you'll just have an async thing. And actually, I'm sorry, I'm gonna dig into my email for a second because I want to show you guys an email message. Hopefully you guys don't see anything important. So I'm gonna move that over there just in case, and I'm gonna search for something from Motley Fool to show you guys what I mean. Um, there we go. So over here they have a button right there for you to unsubscribe, and that's the same kind of functionality I'm looking for. As you can see, when I typed in Bob Saget, they send you some kind of email like this. So you don't actually have to do any password or anything like that. And if I hit unsubscribe, you get sent over there, and you put your email address in, and that is it. So this is my email address that you type in, and you send that in, and that's it. No password needed. So that actually just validated my point. And actually, I want to look at the URL that they had there to see what they have in here. They have all this other stuff. So this is something that they created for them, and this is the actual thing, UTM content. This is all of the content they have. So they have some kind of campaign or whatever that tell them where it's coming from. They're here. They have a way of discussing that I'm using my email to unsubscribe probably. This UTM probably stands for the unsubscribing information. And this is seems like to be the I don't know there, but look at this here. They have an ID for my email address and something else. So that's the same kind of thing that I'm looking for, and that's why I'm creating the router this way. The first time one of my lookups actually succeeded, on the first try. So now we're gonna go back and create that async function, and we'll have our response, and then we'll just go through and drop that. I was thinking that I might want to add a router to delete all of my subscribers, but I don't even want to create that just because I don't know, it just seems like it could cause some kind of problem along the way. Maybe I accidentally sent a request off or something. So I'm just not even going to do that. you know, if I need it later, I can always just throw it in. Subscriber dot find by ID, because we are going to have an ID there. And then we're just going to say underscore ID is going to be request dot body dot, actually it'll be params dot it's going to be underscore ID or ID. I believe it's just ID. And then that'll be it. And it will say, hey, if there's no subscriber, we're going to give you that 404. And the funny thing here is that if I were to go over to the Motley Fool and, you know, I click this email thing and I type in, well, Bob Sackers now is this. Let's do 1 2 3 4 5 6 blah at gmail.com. And then if I submit this, let's see if they give me a 400. So they actually don't do anything here. I just want to see what happens if I do this. So they have some kind of sign-in thing that you actually can do to manage it. But I'm assuming that if you do that, you would need some kind of email or something like that. But to actually unsubscribe, I think I'm fine. And this they probably have this option for people who may be subscribed to their other products, which I don't currently have any other products, so I'm just not going to do that. If it were to change, who knows? I don't know. I may have to find a way to move stuff over, but I don't see that happening, at least no time soon. So I'm not even going to waste time with that. So we do just do response dot status. I think no, not status. Yeah, status. We're going to send that 404 because there's no subscriber there. Otherwise, we're just going to actually find by ID and delete. I think this is delete is one of the most simple routers ever. So so we wait for that. It actually should be fine by ID and delete. I see. So if I do find by ID and delete, it should be the same parameters here though. So and then that'll be it actually. I don't actually think I need to do this because here, you know, I guess it just lets you know that your operation failed and that, you know, it didn't exist. So I can go ahead and do that just to let the user know. But you probably maybe don't want to do that, I guess, so that they can probably guess. They can probably just put somebody's, you know, email in there and remove somebody from your email. Chances of that happening, who knows? Because even if they didn't know what was happening, they could still do it anyway. So there's no real point. And guessing somebody's email directly, you know, what are the odds? So a lot of stuff with security is more down to more of a matter of statistics, and the level of security should match the actual threat and, you know, what's to be lost. I'm not storing anybody's address. I'm not storing anybody's, you know, personal information like credit cards or anything like that. So I can be a little lucid with my security, because if this stuff is to be compromised, you know, you might just get some extra spam or something like that. You're not going to be compromised where you have to change your bank account numbers. You know, you might get, you know, threats or packages to your house. They'll just have an email address, and they won't even get a password. So you know that's you know it's a relatively low risk. There's probably some other software and stuff that I can use to actually see where I'm vulnerable and then adjust my code accordingly. That could be another step in this process, but as of right now, we're safe. So right there, I believe wraps up all of this stuff. And I spelled subscriber wrong over here. Subscriber. There's a few things going on over here, so let's just fix this. Subscriber. There we go. And I'm almost certain that, yep, index.js is wrong because it's got that blah right here. Subscriber. There we go. And that's all I'm going to do for right now. If I need anything else, I'll add that in later. I really want to get to adding in the upload, I mean, not the upload, the email functionality. And in order to do that, I hit F11, so let me get out of there. In order to do that, we actually do need to go somewhere else, and we need to go to SendGrid. This is what we're actually going to use to get this done. And they actually have a free tier, which gives you quite a bit of stuff. So you can send different kinds of notifications, email newsletters, password resets, and as you see, promotion emails, which is what I want, and possibly the password resets. So that's exactly what I want, and I believe I already have an account here. If you want to sign up for this, this is the easiest way to do it. Pretty simple sign up stuff. You put your email, your password in there, set something up, and then you send that off, and then boom, they got it. So I'm not gonna waste time walking you guys through that. It's 21st century. Everybody's pretty familiar with signing up for stuff, especially when it's free. So actually, I forgot. However, I do have to exercise a little bit of caution with this because of API keys. And an API key is actually going to be what allows me to identify myself. Seems like I don't have an account with them anymore. So let me hit the forgot password option and see what happens, because I was almost certain that I didn't stop using them. So I'm just gonna grab my email over here. Not seeing anything from them from my reset. So let my email reload to see if, okay, here we go. So I did have an account with them, but I forgot my password. So I'm just gonna give them a second to set up the new password, and then geez, if it ever loads. Connection still looks stable. All right, I'm just gonna refresh the browser now. My Gmail for some reason was just kind of in a state of just reloading. And then get back to this. There we go. So you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I just want to make sure I don't leak any sensitive information, because I don't feel like dealing with the API keys and all that stuff. Relatively easy to get them back. You can always reset them and change them, but if you don't have to do it, why do it, right? So just waiting for my internet. It's literally taking forever. Still loading. So I guess while we're doing that, let's go over here, and I believe there's a yep, you see this SendGrid add mail. This is what we want, because we want to, I forgot to hit search. So this is what we want here. We're going to use this npm library, and it's somewhat familiar. If I just type in email, there's some other stuff here. Actually, let me not do email. Let me just do mail. And there may be a more popular library in here from some other provider. So if like MailMonkey, you can look here. But this is literally 4 weekly downloads, so never mind MailMonkey. Want something that's got a little bit more of a user base, because you're sending emails. You want something that works. MailChimp, that's something that's popular. Well, maybe not so much in comparison. So I think SendGrid is good enough for what we're trying to do. And as you can see here, you need that API key. So let's just go ahead and get this installed. Oh, I can actually set my password now. So I'm actually going to use new password. So let me set that up. Okay, so now let me log in. What the heck? So for some reason they're saying I'm not authorized to access it. Let me just sign up, because maybe something did happen, and we'll see if that's a problem. So I'm just gonna go take a second and actually go ahead and sign up. And drop my email there. I am not a robot. I accept and create account. So again, it's saying that my email is taking, so it's at least seeing that part. But for some reason, when I try to log in, it's giving me a problem. Reason being, I have no clue. So let's just see if I type in my password. Huh. They will not let me sign in. So this is fairly interesting. And at this point, this isn't even a coding problem. It just literally won't let me sign in. It just says I'm not authorized to access it, and I have no idea why. So luckily, I always keep a alternate email. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that because I don't really feel like messing around with this. So we're just gonna start, and we're gonna sign up with my alternate email. So it'll just be never know when you're gonna need them. I'm not a robot. We're gonna accept, and we're gonna create our account. And now, just adding some information here. Um, not giving them any information that they don't make that they don't demand. And I don't plan to send that many emails a month, so they're just asking for some information here. I can share this with you guys. This is not sensitive at all. So this is what happens after you sign up. I just don't want to keep it on this page because I don't want the API key to be exposed because I don't feel like recycling it. And actually I'm doing it live, so yeah. So what we want to do is we have to pick our option here. So we have to follow these steps and then create using our web API. This is actually what we're going to use. So I'm just going to keep pulling over because I don't know when exactly it's going to show me that. And I want the web API. So this is actually the next page. You just click on that's what you want to do. Click on the web API, and then you're going to choose which language I'm using. We're using Node.js, and then it's going to create all of that stuff for us to actually I can show you now. Let me see. Yep. So they tell you how to use it here. So only thing we have to do is send emails using Node.js. We're going to create our API key. And let me just type this in. I'm just going to type because that's what I'm using it for, this website here. And then you install it, and then this is how you actually send your email. So these all represent something in the when you compose an email. They all represent something. So you have your to, you have your subject, you have your text, and then you have your HTML stuff that you may want to add in there. So for some people, you may want to wrap your text in some HTML. For instance, here they wrap the text in HTML, which is all of this stuff that we see with the background. You can see the hello. They can see the, you have your message here. You have your button here. You have all this extra information here, and it'll send an HTML message to the user. And we'll actually play around with that because I'm interested in making that look appealing. So let's go back over to, oh, my window's hidden from me a little bit. I want to grab, oh, wrong thing. So let me minimize this stuff. So let's go back over to SendGrid, and I'm gonna click on create this API key, and I'll see if there's a way I can work without exposing my API key. There we go. So I have my API key now, and the thing I'm gonna do is in here I'm going to create a folder called environment. So if I can go in here, and what'll happen is new folder. Click out of that. There we go. New folder, and this will just be called environment. And this is actually going to hold what we call environment variables. And just like how we did in Postman, where we had our URL, which is going to vary depending on if it's in development or in production, we're going to do the same thing here. And in this case, this is going to be I think it's just going to be dev dash en. I think it's .env. And the way we can figure that out is the only thing we're going to. Oh, I didn't show you guys my API key. So let me just go ahead and change it. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that and create another one. So we're just going to go back to creating the key that we had. So this is the stuff that you don't want to get into other places. So, okay, now I have my API key. So in this environment thing, you're going to create a file, and I think it's going to be like dev.env, which should be fine. And you see it has this little gear icon, so I think I did it right. And then the only thing that we're going to do is we're going to give this thing a name. And just like how we did in Postman when we used that special formatting where it was just all white, each line here is going to represent a new variable. So for instance, the thing we're going to do is we're going to call this send grid underscore mail. Actually, we're going to say API underscore key. And I'll actually go ahead and control V the key in there. So I'm going to copy the API key, and I'm going to put that into that file. And I'm not going to use any spaces or special characters. So you see here, I'm just going to put it literally right after that and then save the file. Control V, Control S, and then I'm going to close the file. So now the API key is in here and I can access it using that variable. And that's actually what's going to happen on this index.js where we have this thing here. Since I have this environment dev.env, I can actually go ahead and do the same thing. So where you see process.env.port, I'm actually just going to go ahead and use 3000 because this is specifically saying this is the development environment. So I'm going to use that. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to use Control C, and then I'm going to go back in there. I'm going to go on a new line, and sorry I can't show you, but I'm going to do all caps port, no spaces, equal sign, and again no spaces, and I'm just going to put the number 3000 in there, and then I'm going to save the file. And what will happen is now back in the code, I don't even have to do this. I can just leave it like this. And right now when I save it, it might break because it doesn't know what this process.env file is just yet. As you can see here, it's undefined. And the way we'll set this thing up is we actually need to install something else. So we're going to go back over to the npm stuff. And actually, while we're at it, let's just go ahead and install this since we know that we need this. So we're going to go ahead and do npm install. And how do they have this? Actually, let's just go ahead and save it. It's just faster this way. So we do Control Shift V for Windows. Hit enter. Let it do its thing. And then while it's doing that, we're actually going to look at the other package that we're looking for, and I believe it's env-cmd. And this will allow us to set our environment using that file that we're using. So I'm going to use this thing here, and we only need this for our development environment, so I'm going to let it be written that way. So it's going to be like this. Control Shift V. I'm just going to do / save -dev. And when you look at our package.json, you see the difference between our I don't think I have any development stuff. So actually I don't need get stream in here. And I probably should npm uninstall stuff that I don't need. So I'll go through and wipe this stuff because what'll happen is it's probably still over here in this package.json.log. And if I do Control F and I forget what I just do get stream, yep, it's right there. So I don't need this. And the way you do it is just do npm uninstall, and you see here it holds all the locations that we had it from. But less about that, more back to where we were. I'm just gonna go ahead and save that and do the -- save dev. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want you guys to see this, and when I when I hit enter, it should create a new object in there, because at the end of the day this package .json is a JSON file, and you see here they created our development dependencies. So what it's saying is this thing right here is only going to be used in our development environment, and that's exactly right. All of this other stuff is actually being used in other places, so that's cool. And I don't think I need this MongoDB thing, but actually I think I used it here in the database setup if I can find it. Nope. Well, it's fine. If I don't need it, I can always uninstall it later. So now we have that, and we're going to do one thing in here. We're going to modify this development thing, and we're going to set our env-cmd, and what else does it say down here in the thing here? You set your, I think that's it actually, you just call it, but I think there's a way you have to set your environment, and that is the part I'm looking for. Environment file /.env. So these are the environment variables that we have. In this case, this is their test. The only thing I don't know is that this mocha is what they're calling their environment variable. So that's what I'm looking for there, and I believe that -r, they put spec in there, so custom RC file path. Let's go and see if they have more specific documentation down below. So I'm not seeing it at the moment. I think this is it here. Dash E, and in this case they put production. So I think that dash E sets the environment. So what I think I do is to have that, put dash E, and I believe I can just use dev and let that be it. So if I go back and try to run the server, the server, we'll get an error if it didn't work. So in this case, it's looking for an RC file, and I'm not using an RC file, so I believe I should just be able to just put dev right in there. So let's try that and then run it again. Oh, I know. It's looking for the actual file. So if I do E and I do dot slash, actually no, it should be dot slash environment slash dev. That should be it, I believe. Nope. So the problem is it's just having a problem finding what I'm trying to, the file I'm trying to look for. So here, let me go back to the documentation. So we're not using that. Or for multiple environments where production vars override test vars. There's E test. Yeah, so I think I did that right the first time. I think I'm missing something here. Because this thing is called dev. So let me just look through this for a second. And I'm actually just going to go to the GitHub page. I think they're a little bit more verbose. So this is the README file. And which they showed you, right? What you do in the package.json. For a more complex project, a .env dash, yeah, I don't have this here. It's supposed to be pretty straight simple, I thought. Oh, I see. The dash E does RC environments, and we're not using that. So I'm thinking when I didn't have dev in there, we still had problems, right? When I just did RB, and the only way I can think of trying to check this is to look at my older code, because I was wondering, oh, I need to create a new window for this first. My older code, I believe had that in there. I may be mistaken. So I just want to take a look at what they have in the scripts there for the. Yeah, here's just no mon. So I didn't get that far in the last project. So what I need to do is I'm just gonna say what I can figure out here. I'm just gonna say dash env env dash cmd. How does this work, right? Here we go. Here, setting it from a file. So somebody seems to. Oh, nope. Seems a little odd that I'd have to do it this way. To use a custom env file name, you do it this way. Oh, I see. So I can just do dash F. So in this case, would it be dash F, and then would it be environment slash dev, because that's the location from this thing here, slash environment. I might have to do dot slash, but let's figure that out. So let's do a dot slash environment slash dev. So that way it's saying, okay, same directory, and go somewhere else. Still not liking that. So let's just do dash dev. Let's see if we can find it that way. Nope. I see. So it's telling us exactly where it's trying to get it from. It's saying you're going all this way. So you have to use the node modules, apparently. So, nope. Oh, do I have to use the, let's see here. Custom path.env. I tap out, so I'm going to cheat. And I'm going to go back to my Udemy course and figure out how that was set up there. And forgive me, you guys see me fiddling a bit. I did pull my hamstring not too long ago, and it doesn't hurt. I just keep these weird sensations, like almost like a, not like a tightness, but just I don't even know how to explain this, to be honest. But it does irritate. So sorry for that. There's something in here that I'm looking for those environment variables. And as soon as I find that, we can continue on with our lives. Seems a bit far, and I believe those environment variables are created somewhere down here. Thought I had it in here. Here we go. So we're actually, no, get all that. So let's see. Where's that package.json? So we're looking in here for the package.json file where all this stuff is actually being configured. So that is what I'm looking for. Here we go.
That env cmd is installed as a dev dependency, which is great.
There we go.
That env cmd is installed as a dev dependency dev script. We're gonna.
So, oh, I see. So, yeah. Oh, so we don't need any of the extra stuff, and I do have to use the .env on that. So that might have been the problem the whole time. I never added my so, and I do believe it's // so / environment /dev .env, and that should do it. So let's do clear and run that, and there we go. So so let me modify this just a bit. So I think the missing thing was just the .env. I don't think I need a / because I don't have it nested in any other folder. Oh, come on. Let me see if I just put a slash in front of this. It failed to find .env file at default paths. So I definitely think there's something missing here.
Then it's going to continue to run the node application.
So when this src, so in this task manager, everything's all global. So when they created this config file, he had to go down into one thing. And I believe the package.json is right here. So he did / to get into that config. then it did dots, then it did another slash dev.env, and that's what I have. So the only thing I can think of is that I spelled something wrong. In vi run, and I'm very slow when it comes to spelling. Meant slash dev dot env. I think this is fine. The only thing I can think is that maybe something is out of date, so maybe the syntax is different. Because I know if I do this dash f, this should tell it that I'm using a custom file. Oh, there it is. So what's the dash f that I needed? So again, yeah, it's just when stuff updates, it's things change.
But it will provide those environment variables to the app.
And as you can see, he doesn't have it. So
then it's going to continue to run the
yeah, it's probably just an update. And as you can see here, we have a later version. His version was like 8 something. So that's very possible. So now when we run this again, though, we're not having any problems. So this dash f just told it that we were using a custom file. So now we're back to where we were. And honestly, we don't even have to log this anymore. But it just gives you some kind of printout, you know, when stuff's happened. So now it won't nothing will print out in the terminal, which is cool. So let's see, what else are we looking for? Oh yeah, so we already have our subscriber. We got the subscribers router set up. Actually, let's go ahead and test that, I guess. That's the only other thing we can do right now. Actually, no, we were moving on to our email stuff. So let's go back to the email stuff. And back in SendGrid, excuse me, they have the email API set up. They have a way for just a second. I'll be showing you guys what I'm seeing on the other screen. Just waiting for things to load. Otherwise, you just have a nice bright white screen, and nobody wants that. I guess we can just go ahead and set up these routes in Postman, just because we don't have anything else to do just yet. And we're going to go to create subscriber. It really should be add subscriber, huh? Because we're not creating anything. Add subscriber. And then we'll hit that. No, I don't want to create a folder. So save. And then let's just go to this. We're making a post. And then again, we'll use the URL. And then we'll use our slash subscribers. And we'll send off the information. And we can just use a raw JSON. And we'll go ahead and provide an email. And that'll just be testing 1 2 3 at gmail.com, and then we'll go down to the name, and we'll say testing, and we would just send that off, right? That's all we need. And look at that, it's created. We don't have to do any authentication. So now I'm actually just gonna hit duplicate because we're using the same endpoint. And this time we actually do want to get a user. So we're just gonna say edit get subscribers, update that, and then this time it would be same thing. So it'd be URL slash subscribers, and we just send that off, and look at that, we get our subscriber. And then if we want to delete a subscriber, we should be authenticated for this. The reason why I think we were able to get this is because I'm logged in. So now if I log out, now that I logged out and I try to do this, I'm unauthenticated. So I did modify my logging so that way I don't have to keep logging in and out. So I have a longer delay. So say remove subscriber. We also shouldn't be able to remove any subscriber. Oh no, need to create a new request. Remove subscriber, or really should be unsubscribe, huh? Unsubscribe, and we'll save it. And then same URL. So URL slash unsubscribers. Maybe it should be slash unsubscribe. You know, the URL makes so much more sense. But no biggie. Put the body in there, and actually we do need that ID, so we're gonna use that ID that we just had. And if we try to send this off, we should get an error. Oh, nope, we changed it. Let's see here. How did we do on the subscriber router? Yep, we put the slash ID on that thing. I don't know what's happening now. I don't know what happened with that. Oh, there it is. So that user must already be removed because we're getting a 404 instead of some other message. And what we can do is we can go refresh this. Just that alone just shows me that we at least created it, and now that it's missing, that it was deleted. And that's really it. And for some reason, my send grid actually timed out. So let me just give that a second. So just for so you can see what I see. Dynamic email templates let you easily build, personalize, and manage emails that can be sent using an API call. If you're using SMTP or version 2 of our API, you'll need to migrate to version 3. So let's just see what this thing will do. Let's just see. What happens when you subscribe, right? So let's go over to something. We're gonna subscribe. So let's use the full, because that's the easiest thing I can think about right now. And we're gonna subscribe to their newsletter. We're gonna look at their email, and we'll see what they send us. So let's go here, and we're gonna say we're gonna agree, and we're gonna let that go all the way back. Oop, oop. And there we go. So we're back here. We're over here in our email. Any minute we should be getting something from them to confirm. Sometimes I think they actually send you specific things. So it might take a second for them to actually send the email. Hopefully it doesn't. But really all we want to do is create a way for them to get a notification that they actually did subscribe. And that's really it. Because it's not like they have a profile where they can visually see. And here it is. So it showed up in our spam, and this is it here. So we got the email, and I don't actually like the way this looks because it looks very spammy. But that's all we wanted to do. We wanted to see what they'll send us, and then we can click the unsubscribe button, and we get this. This is the ID more than likely, and that's how they're doing it. So it's a little bit more dynamic, I guess. I mean, there's other ways to do this as well, and that's really it there. So we can just go ahead and click on that because we don't need this anymore, and go back to our code. So we did demonstrate that everything else works. So now that we have our subscription stuff going on, let's try to send let's go into our I don't think this should be middleware anymore, because when we send our email, that's not middleware. We're sending some actual data. So the only thing I want to go over here and do is look for how these. I just want to look at the folder structure for this. And
Now that you know how to send emails from
very
Node.js, let's
loud.
actually integrate.
And all he did was create another folder. Okay, that's all I really wanted. So let's go over into our folder structure here. And we're just gonna do, I think it's just mail, right? Yep. So there may be different emails for different stuff. So that's right. That's why I'm creating the folder. Because what's gonna, oh, I don't want that. Oh, okay, I see what he did. As you see here, initially what I want is going to be, I want a subscriber. So what's going to happen is I want to send when somebody subscribes, I want to send an email to me, and I want to send an email to the subscriber saying welcome, and then to me I just want to say a notification, hey, you have a new subscriber, right? And then some kind of way, I do want a way to track the numbers, but again, that's going to be something else that I might have another dashboard for. And just so you guys can see what I mean when I say dashboard, is this dashboard that I created. I think this is still a duplicate. So this is like my admin portal, and you know how I have this dashboard here. You know, I can always have one for subscribers. Just so I know how many subscribers I have. I might have it on this screen right here, like on YouTube. So there's a few options there that I can have to do that. So you know, I don't know exactly how I want to do it just yet, but let's first go in here and we're going to create our new file, and this was going to be subscriber.js, and it's okay that it's the same name because it's in a different directory, so that is perfectly fine. And I like it because it's in the email the same subscriber, so we can use these naming templates to consistently correlate, distinguish what's happening. So what we might want to do, what we're gonna have to do here is we're gonna want that send grid. So we're gonna do, and then we can look at the docs for this. Believe which one is which. So they have this thing for the dynamic templates. I'm gonna save that for a second. Well, I'm not gonna save it, but I'm gonna hold off on that because I don't know what kind of stuff I want to send. I just want to get up to this most basic functionality here, so that way we can get the ball rolling here. What I'm looking for now is actually how to send out these emails. So what I was looking at, oh, here we go. So, okay, here we go. So what we have to do is use this thing here. So actually we can just copy this because this is all we need. So now you have so this is just not, the message is literally just an object, right? But we don't want to do it this way, because what's really going to happen is we're going to have a function. So what we can do is we can say, we're going to call a message, right? And we can actually say this, we can call this send email, and just utilize things that are already here, right? And I believe this thing is going to be, I don't know what this is going to be actually. I don't think it's asynchronous. So it returns a promise, so we'll have to await it. No, we don't. So what we want to do is we want to have the email go here. So we want to say, actually, I'm going to call this something else. I want to say notify user. So, or confirmation email should it be? User subscriber confirmation, right? I'm gonna call this exactly what it is. It's confirmation. And actually we're in subscribers, so we can just say confirmation email equals this, and then we want to have the user, we want the name, and we need the email. And the way we'll work is we'll send this to, and there's actually a syntax that we can use just like this. Actually, we might just be able to put name right there. Yeah, there we go. But I want it to be a string. So we'll have to send the name as a string, and that'll be no problem. And we'll say from, and then here is where I'll actually have to put my email address in here. So just to make it work, I'm going to use one of my aliases. Almighty will .tv at gmail.com. .com. So I don't know why you have an error here. Let's see. Oh, I see. Missing that. So now we're good. This is going to be the subject, and this is going to say, what did Motley Fool say? So this is their header, right? But we don't want that. Let's just go to subscription. Your subscription confirmation. I think we can do better than that, right? So it might be thanks for subscribing, right? That's perfectly simple, right? So we say thank you for subscribing. And then the text will say thank you for signing up for thank you for subscribing, right? Subscribing to, and then we can actually go here and we can say the name, right? We can say here there's a syntax we can use to say hi, and when we use this syntax we can drop in a direct, and we have to change it a little bit. You saw those slanted quotations, so, and it turns blue. So here we'll put our name, so we can say hi name, thank you for subscribing to my blog. Thank you for subscribing to my blog. And let's just leave it like that, right? And it seems like the way this this works is, well, it seems like I'm missing something here. I don't think it liked the way I did this. Yeah, I don't think it's liking this. So we'll just do the same thing here. We'll do, and then we'll close it off like that. I don't like that. And so in the course here, he modifies this stuff, and oh wait, no. So it's the same thing. So in order for this to send, we actually have to do a few things. Oop. So send that in, that object. So I think that's what I messed up there. I see. I screwed up the object notation here. So sgmail.send here. I don't think this is a big deal, because it's all in one place anyway. So this is all of the context. So I can go back and put in the stuff. So I can always, oh, I see, you'd say to email. And let me get rid of this stuff because it's going to be a string. There's a comma with that from, and this from is going to be me. So I don't have to worry about that. sg.mail.send. Oh, we chose to omit that part. And then I want to keep the HTML stuff here just to see what happens. I can always fix this later. So I'm gonna just copy this and do this to see how it looks, because I'm curious. but it's still red for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure why. I think if I take this off, it'll probably clear up. Yep. So that's why, because I'm making it so I do have to pull this in. So we're gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna do Control Z to put the stuff back actually, and then I'm just gonna grab this and wrap this inside of that. And then when I grab this, and we should be good to go. And I'm gonna need a parentheses to say this is a method, and only thing I'm missing here is a bracket, closing bracket to close out the object. Oh no, I'm sorry. We need that below this. And there we go. So now if I save this, it should reformat itself. Huh. Didn't for some reason. Confirmation email. Got that. Oh, I see. So this is all out of order. And I like to keep all of my stuff consistent. So drop that down. So now we can see what we're sending. And I'm actually going to drop this down one more so we can see. And I just like this because it's easier to read. There's no specific reason why I'm doing this, except for why it's easier to read. So that is the reason. So yeah, so we now have the email that we're going to pass in. We have the from, and this is what's going to let the system know where this is coming from. We have our subject, we have our text, which is going in to say where all this is coming from, and then we have our HTML stuff. So now I'm going to save this, and oh, I forgot to export it. So we're going to do modules dot exports equals confirmation email, right? And then in the subscriber router, what we're going to do is we're going to get this. So we're going to import our function that we just created, and it's going to be subscriber confirmation email, and we can call it anything else really. We can do confirmation email because this is easier, equals require, and now we're going to require dot dot slash our emails slash subscriber, and that's how we're going to get this. And I think we can do it like this. Because we specifically want oh, I never saved it, that's why. And I think it's supposed to be nope, module.exports equals, yep, so I did that right. So I shouldn't have to do this now. And the reason why that's that color, because I haven't done anything with it. So it's going to be confirmation email, and we're going to call this, so we're going to say the name is going to be subscriber dot name. And the reason why I'm doing this after the status is because if anything happens before it gets here, I don't want to send this email off. And then we'll do subscriber dot email, and I believe I have email then name, but we can always hover over here. Yeah, so we're good. So name, email. And when we do this, I should actually see the email in my email address. So we can always check, right? So we're going to fire off this add subscriber thing again and see if that happens. And in order for this to work, I have to use a real email now. So I'll do w.ennals@gmail.com, and it'll just be Will. So now, and we're not even going to wait for this because you know, I guess with this we don't have to wait. Don't ask me exactly why per se. Oh yeah, so we're here, so we're gonna send that. So the user was added, and then the email is so now let's just go wait for that email to come, and it might take a second, and it might quite possibly show up in my spam folder. Oh. least y'all know I pay my bills. Let me just pull this over to the side. And let me check my spam folder. Some real spam up in that thing. So it might take a second because I'm not I never verified my email either. Oh, I know what happened. So I think before that thing will work, I have to verify my email. So I'm actually logging into my alternate email, and I just want to see where this thing is going to show up. So got it. Okay, so I got my confirmation email here. I'm just gonna confirm my email, but oh yeah, so I think I'm fine. So I'm just gonna if I can grab this thing and move. Ooh, I want to grab right there if I'm very careful. Jeez. Alright, so let me grab SendGrid, confirm my email address, and see if that thing worked. Right, in a year now. It's just taking forever to confirm my email. And I don't know if this is like SendGrid's website or my browser, because everything else is loading relatively fast. I still don't see that email. So I'm wondering if me not confirming my email address is having anything, to do with that. I still don't see it just yet. Let me check trash. No, trash is stuff that I send. I'm not seeing any promotions or social stuff. SendGrid finally. Okay, finally confirmed my email address. So let me send that thing off again and see if that was the holdup. So I don't remember paying anything. So let me make sure I didn't screw up my accounts here. Right. Sorry about that. Doing two things at once. Yes, I still don't see it yet. So let me go back over here and let me check my sent folder. Well, I thought it would show sending from here. So I'm just gonna send that request off again and see if that'll make it show up in my email address. So now it's not working because I already have that email in here. So now I have to go ahead and unsubscribe, and I believe I need that. Now I need my ID. I gotta sign in, and this time I won't be logging out. So let's see here, get subscribers, boom, grab the ID, and we're gonna unsubscribe, boom, and send that off. And still sending. So here we go. There's an error going on here. So now this is interesting because I don't know what the problem is. It says forbidden, but this is new to me. So now they're saying it's not found. So there's something a little funky going on here. So I have to dig into it a little bit more, but I'll hold off on that just because timing. I'm just checking my spam again to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so let me try to send that off again to add the subscription. I believe my email is fine, and the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and just check that subscriber.js thing. So it should be sending it to whatever email we suggest, and the only thing I can think of is that maybe the name and email objects that I'm trying to use off this subscriber were somehow null. So but I don't think that's really the problem. And then when you hover over our thing, we're going to send it to, oh, I think I know the problem. I wonder if it gives you the string value or the raw value, because that'll be important. As you can see, everything else is a string. However, well, I don't think that's it. And we can always verify that just clicking here,
on it.
right?
For us, sender.gyre. Yes, routers, then like, call, send, welcome email, providing the email address. We know that a user has user.email,
Yep,
followed by their name, user.name.
And that's it, yeah. So I don't think we missed a step there. Oh, it was the API key. So we never set the API key. And that's what we have to do here. So go back over here and we'll set that API key. Actually, it should be set here. So send grid underscore API underscore key. Let me make sure my dev.env variable matches that. Yeah, it matches. So that isn't the problem. So let's go ahead and send that thing off, because I don't think I've done that yet. So there it is. Let me check my email to see if anything's gone through. For some reason I feel that down on my foot. So still can't figure this thing out. So my email is confirmed now, so I should be able to at least send that thing off. And I think I might be able to track what I'm doing from this dashboard here. So it'll let me know if any of these requests have gone through. And it doesn't appear to have done so. So I could be missing something else. And let's check the spam folder again. So we'll have to keep digging. These APIs, they do change. Actually, I'm seeing some. I wonder if this is new error or the same error twice. And the only way we'll find out is to. So I'm running my server again. I cleaned up the terminal, and I just want to. We got to remove our user first. So I think something's going on with this unsubscribe thing as well. So these are all things that I'm just taking note of. So I'm almost certain that the unsubscribe is having issues. So when I drop that ID in there, then I hit Control V, and I send. I send this off. Before I do that. Oh yeah, I forgot. I think I can look at the old code for that particular thing, because the old code is actually still using the older way of doing this. So let me go open folder and look here, and we'll just drop in here for a second and look at that delete breastpoint. And then here, params.id. And what did I do? I did something a little bit more complex that I didn't need to do. What I did was, wait, is this? Oh, this is the old one here. So what I did was, I think I passed that object. I passed it in like an object where it just needs the ID. So I think that's what the problem is, because it's like, hey, what are you talking about? ID matches this. Just send me the ID. So if I send this now, it should just delete it. Second thing I forgot to do is we're getting this subscriber. Oh, I never sent a response here. That's also what's happening there. So I don't need to send any information back when I delete a user, and we'll see that here. When you delete something, it's deleted. You don't need to verify the information that you delete, right? Well, I mean, you probably will do want to verify the information that you delete, but I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. But I'm sending it back here for some reason as well, so I guess it's all fine. So let's go and do that. So we just do response dot send, and I'm just gonna send OK because I think it's very weird to just send that information back. And that explains our very long wait time. So now we should be able to run through this thing pretty smoothly, and I think it's already running. So that explains what was going on there. So now we can have our subscriber there. It is created, but we're not getting this email, and I am actually bothered. So looking at the code they have here, so integrate and then verify. So let me read the documentation here. Again, they have the, make sure we have the prerequisites, we're fine there. We have the API key. We already created the environment variable. We installed the package. We have our variable. Oh, let me make sure it matches, because I think what I did over here is I called SG, oh no, I called it SGmail. So these are all matching. SGmail, that's set API key, process that in SendGrid API key, which is correct. And then we're sending this thing. I think the problem is that I didn't actually call this thing. I'm on a hunch that that's probably the problem there. Nope. Nope. Because when I called it in the other function, that should have done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that object notation like they did. Because I know I'm going to have more than one email in here, so it shouldn't hurt me anyway to do this. I just want to see if this helps. And it seems like I did something erroneous somewhere else. Not too sure just yet.
Now we actually want to go into user.use. That's dot email right here, user.name, and there we go.
Yeah, so nothing fancy is going on here. Seems like I might be missing some small detail. So let's see if we can get this together. Confirmation email, subscriber router, confirmation email, Control Z, and there we go. And I just want to make sure go again, still match. Alright, let's just try it one more time. And I believe, okay, so the user still exists. So I need to get that user now. I mean the subscriber. And I need to unsubscribe. And I'm sorry I'm going over time. I'm just trying to finish this before I wrap it up, so that way you guys can see the full circle. So we created it. Let's check out terminal. We're not seeing anything here. So now let's go and check the email again. I think this is because this is all the code. So I mean, if we're having something here, I think something else is going on that I'm missing. So I might need to upgrade my version of Node. But we have version 12. So I don't get what that issue is. I'm not sure if the from part matters, and The only other thing I can think to do is to do this before we send the response. Because I think if you do this after you send the response, that might be where the problem's coming from. I think when we send the response, it's kind of like a return statement. So if I put it here, it'll probably work. And I can probably verify that before I send it off again.
To grab send, now we have a system.
Yeah, see, there it is there. Before you send your response, you have to put it in. Otherwise, it'll probably won't even get to that part of the code. Let's log out. I need the ID though. And I do like how the IDs are very random, so you can't just do like a +1 on it. So now let's go back and send off that subscriber. Oh, maybe too soon. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, I don't think I sent this off. What the heck? Let's see if somebody's still in here. Yep. I think I copied an old ID. There we go. And then if I go to add subscriber, we should see it go full circle now. Jeez. But we're not getting that error we used to see. What the heck? I'm just gonna go ahead and look at my email again. 'Cause this time there should be something here. Somewhere. Check spam first. Then do the inbox. Refresh the page. I do remember it saying that it will take 2 to 3 minutes for it to come through, but I just feel like I never deleted the user, just because everything's like literally the same information over and over again. And I'm just looking at the email very closely to make sure I didn't screw anything up. But it seems fine to me. So let me try this one more time to unsubscribe. $200, cool, and we unsubscribed. So now let's go ahead, hit subscribe. It's already saying bad request, right? So that is the part that's getting me, because we just sent it off, right? It's immediately going to 400. So I'm going to delete this manually and send off that subscription. And if this breaks, then I know it's something else going on. Yeah, so now we have another issue going on here. But and I think I know the problem. Nope, I don't. Told that thing to wait, so we have a request that body. Call our confirmation email. And then we get down here. So we need to wait for that 201. So now it's having an issue creating our user. But if we go over here, it's working. But we're getting a different message. So I wonder if it's trying to tell us that the email is failing. That's the only thing I can really think of. So what I'm gonna do is, actually let's just see. Keep hitting this. So now it's empty, and we can see that because there's an empty array there. So let's send this off. We have JSON. Everything is in there properly. If we go to the database, it's empty. So we know that's not it. Send this off, and it's still saying bad request. And I don't know why, because bad request means something's failing in here, and I don't know what. So let me just go and say, so I think it has something to do with the way this function is written. So let me look at this very carefully. And I want to go back over to how they did it here, because this is going to be the key to figuring out what little detail I missed. SGmail SendGrid API. So I don't remember changing any of this stuff, right? So if I look at this, and it's sgmail dot set API key, and we're getting from the process.env. So I know that's not the problem. Actually, I don't even remember changing that, but we have that now. So we have our constant, which is the confirmation email that we're going to send off. That is we're using the ES6 syntax, and we create our function. So that's all nested there. And then we have sgmail.send, and then this is the object, right? So when we do .send, we have the to part, which is the email. For some reason, theirs is a different color. That might show some indication that so initially when I looked at it, I was thinking that maybe I was missing like a the notation for the object, right? But I mean, everything looks perfectly fine, so I can't say that that's the problem. There is, wait a second. Nope, can't 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 say that because this all matches up. Everything is matching up with where it's supposed to be. The function is enclosed. We have our object right here. So we're sending this object, has to email from this email address here. And I can always try to change this as well to try to get it to fit something, and then try to send this off the way it is, because that may be a part of the error that we're getting, because this send actually is a promise, and it does have a response error. So that can very well be the problem. And then what I'll do is I really wanted to console log it, but I don't know a way to do this without, I guess I can await and then print that out. So we'll say await that, and then I store this in a constant now. So I'll say const response equals await now, and then I'll log out that error message so I can figure out what's going on. Console.log, and we're gonna figure out what's going on. Let's get this response, and hopefully this will help us in decoding what's going on in here. So it seems like this returns I thought it returned a promise, but for some reason they're not letting us do it this way. Oh wait, oh, there we go, async. Haha. And there we go. So I'm almost certain that this will give us our error. First I'll have to go ahead and remove this subscriber. So I don't know what happened first, if the subscriber was already there or what. So let me just go ahead and hit that again, and nothing's printing out. That's interesting. If I put it before. So again, I like console logs because I can visually see my errors before I make them. Well, it just shows me where my errors are. This probably just aired out because it didn't make it. So now I'm starting to think a little bit more simply now. Let me look at this router just in general and figure out where this thing is coming from, because it's coming from here. It's bailing somewhere and jumping out. So let's figure out where it's jumping out before sending, and then because I don't even see anything print out, so it could be the fact that we didn't even get our subscribers save. But looking at this thing, did I forget new? Nope. Const subscriber equals new subscriber request dot body. So we didn't miss that there, and then we're gonna await subscriber dot save. We didn't miss that, and then you send your response off. Response dot status 201, and then let's just go ahead and send the subscriber to see what happens. So we can get a better hang on this. If I don't figure this out by 10:30, I'll have to dig into I guess I'm not gonna set a time limit on it because it's probably gonna take me just a little bit beyond it, and then I'll find myself wanting to create a video, you know, and then send it again. So I just need you guys to bear with me just a little bit longer. It worked before we added the email stuff in there, so how about we just take this email message out and just make sure it works as it did before saving. And it seems like it worked when I did that because I see it print out. So we're definitely having a problem with our function. So it'll be the sooner we can get to the bottom of that, the sooner we'll have everything wrapped up. So if I do this, we get our 201. So now I know for a fact that the email function is our problem. So let me just go ahead, unsubscribe, and dig into that. So when we pull this thing in, if I just Control Z everything, we know that this is the problem. Now I'm trying to figure out if it's the problem because of the name or the email, or maybe there's some other configuration that we have to have in there. And I'm almost certain that it is the latter. So I think I forgot some configuration.
And I'll send it from these changes from right here. We can click
There it
create
is there.
new sender.
I never hooked up my sender in there, so that's what I have to do. So it's not even about the code at this point. It's more so the API itself. So so that's why before using your APIs, you have to make sure that you read the documentation, and if you run into errors like how I am, first verify what's causing your error, and then you can move along and say, okay, now I know what's causing my error. So I'm assuming that with this there's so much more, so I missed the next step because I got here to integrate but I never verified, and I think that's what the problem was. So I do have an API key, at least I thought. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this thing again. I was almost certain I had an API key here. Oh, I see. So I guess I have to create another API key. That is fine. So now I copy my API key, and I'm gonna put that back into my code. So let me get into my dev.env thing and save that. And I'm gonna have to stop my server actually to get this to work, and clear it, and then I'm gonna rerun it. And the reason why is because of that process with that dev.env file that we created. It was using the first start spin up that we used, so when we updated our API key, it wouldn't have caught it in the next one. So now that we have that, now I can verify my integration. So now if that runs without error, click verify. Oh, oops. I guess I was supposed to run this here. So now it's giving us a bad request. And we know that this is what caused it. The problem here, I guess, is I guess I was supposed to hold off on doing that. So let me try this one more time. Create key. I feel like I'm creating so many extra ones. Implement and run the code. If it runs without error, click next. Oh, I see. So I'm actually gonna break that back down to I'm not sure now. So let me just go back to this dev.env thing and set this new API that I just generated, because it's supposed to run without error, and they don't really give you much to go on when you do run into an error, because I tried console logging and that didn't work. So I think it's something going on with my setup. So let me see if maybe I spelled something wrong here. So I'm just gonna grab this like this. Well, you don't know what I'm grabbing, but I'm grabbing my the exact phrasing that I used to create my API key. So I just grabbed that that whole constant for the centigrade thing. I just grabbed that whole constant so that way I can see what was going on, and making sure there wasn't like a small typo or some discrepancy there. Full screen again, and that is looking okay. And then now I'm looking at my confirmation email function. I want to make sure that I don't have anything going wrong here. And the only way I can do this is to do a side-by-side comparison. So I'm going to do that. But another thing, it seems like I need to, I'm sorry, this is a little bit
Overkill for a
behind.
service that. Next up, we have the subject line for the go ahead, and then the text is going to be along the lines of Lope. Now, in addition, a styled HTML email if we wanted to, but we're not account.js, and to actually send this email off to, but we're not going to worry about
So
that. We'll
I'm
just
gonna
stick
wait
with
until
basic
it runs
text
through.
for the moment.
I'm gonna pull this
Now we can
out.
save account.js, and to actually send this email off, all we need to do is run this script. This is
So mine looks a little bit more complicated than theirs. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pull out all of this, and I'm going to run the script from the terminal. So I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to comment this line out. So that way I can just call on this one script here and isolate it. So I'm going to stop the terminal. And now I'm just going to try to run this. I'm going to do node, and I believe I just type in this file extension, and I have to go emails / subscriber.js. So now I get to see what's going on here, and it's really that. So let's do, I'm going to send it to myself. So let me save that and try it again. And then same thing with name, I have to fix that as well. So it seemed like it got to the bottom, so that's actually a good sign because it didn't throw an error before we got anywhere. Oh, I think when I copied my API key, I grabbed too much information. Update development, send your API key. So I think I actually have to include the quotations around it, and I didn't do that when I created it. So it's worth a try. Oop. So when I store my API key, I didn't actually add so it'd be something like this, and then your API key would go in there. I didn't do that. I just had it as like, so in my in my env file, it was literally like this. And actually, I'll just go ahead and show you guys the key. It's really not that big a deal right now. So initially I didn't have those single quotes, and that might have been the problem. So now it's saying this is the problem. The API key doesn't start with that. Actually, it's telling me that I'm unauthorized. Oh, it's from the telling me that I'm unauthorized for the server. So the only thing I can think of, but the problem is that it's telling me that that is exactly how the API key is supposed to be. So that is my dilemma. But it does make sense that I would need it here. And actually, since I'm using Windows, I'm going to use a double quotes because of Windows is a little different with the way files are written. So yeah, API key does not start with that. And if I take that out, right, I still get a problem. So it's not liking this for some reason, but this is literally the API key that they gave me. I do have quite a few API keys here. So I'm just going to start deleting some of them because they all have the same exact name. So let me try to change the key. And wait, they can't show me the key no more. I'm just going to delete it then. And then I'll create a new one. So create a new key. And then I'll try it just raw. And then save this. And I think that space might be screwing with it as well. So I think everything is in order. So let me just take that 5G out because it seems like that is a problem. I don't think that's the problem, but only one way to find out. Wait a second. Seems like the, oh, I see. When I added these corrections, because I think what happened here is when I set the API key, I'm grabbing this variable directly as it is. It's supposed to be a string, and because it's not, I think that might be what's causing it some problems. So, but I can't think of another way. What's going on here? So I'm actually just gonna copy this and see if I can find somewhere in the docs. Well, I'm gonna Google and see if I can find the problem. So, SendGrid API key. So the API key is generated and displayed to you just once, so be sure to copy and save it somewhere. After that, only the subset key is displayed. API key generated and displayed to you. Nah. The string you're referring to is not the API key, it's the API ID. What is the rest of this stuff? So let me start pulling some of this stuff out. It seems like this is the API key, the smaller subset of stuff here. So let me just use this and see what happens. Nope. and it seems like it didn't update my API key actually hasn't updated. So I don't know why that is. Let me close this and reopen it, because this here is supposed to update when I change my information. Let me see something. Process.env. Um, I'm really lost here, so I may have to push this till tomorrow, or at least some other time tonight, because
To set up a style.
actually what I'm just gonna do, I'm just gonna do it like how they're doing it here. API key equals, right? So I'm not losing anything at this point. So what I'll do is I'll go here, go to SendGrid. We're going to use this API key that they're giving us, and we're going to drop this in there, and we'll use string syntax, and then we'll use API key, and then we're going to send that off. So now at this point, it didn't give us an error message about this. It's giving it an error message about us not having the authorization. So I think this happened because I may have changed the API key again in here. So I'm just gonna refresh this page to look at my keys, and as expected, oh, maybe not. I don't know why my browser's so slow today. I think there's a storm. Yeah, 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 yeah. So, wish things would go a little bit faster, you know? I'll just use one of these at a time. Oh, jeez. Why is my connection so slow? And I'm scared to do anything with it while I'm live, because I don't want it to knock the connection out. One thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start cleaning up some of these tabs I had open on my other page. Okay, so something's going on with SendGrid, I believe. So let me just go back to it and see if maybe what's going on there. Actually, I'm just going to go back all the way back to the top. Nope, I'm going to use a new browser completely. There we go. And we're already here, so we're going to click on the dashboard. So I don't know what was going on with that other browser, but it was getting on my nerves. So let's go back to this guy again, and I believe I already have some API keys created. So that's really what I wanted to look at. I'm just going to delete that one, and then we're just going to go back there, choose this, and we're going to do this, and I'm just going to type test, right, all caps, and then I'm just going to grab all of this, and then now I'm going to go over here and replace the text in there, save this, and then try to run this thing again. We're still getting some errors, and I really don't see what's going on because I can't for some reason. So I don't know what to do here. I tried everything. I even followed everything that's going on in here. They have SendGrid required, create a constant for the API key. API key is surrounded by the text there. You set the API key, and it's still not adhering to what's going on. Maybe I can take out this HTML stuff, and maybe that'll do something. I doubt it, but we're getting this error, and it's telling us it's forbidden. So it's either rejecting the API key, or there's something else going on here. I can try to add this there and try to send it this way, but I think it's going to be more of the same. So now it's telling us that it doesn't start with the whole 5G thing, or whatever, but it definitely does, because that's what we're getting. So now it's saying it doesn't start with it, so I have no clue what's going on there. So there we go there. You try to put it in by itself, and then we'll get the same, we'll get more of the same, really. So I don't know, I'll have to look into this a little bit more, and try to come up with something. If I come up with something in the next few minutes, obviously I'll just go live again. So if you're watching, just go ahead and turn your notifications on, because I may go live again within the next half hour. I usually focus a little bit better when I'm not on the stream. I don't know why, but probably a little bit less pressure. But if I don't figure this out tonight, I'll definitely see you guys tomorrow, and I'll update you then. So have a good night, and see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern